A day after Donald Trump was officially impeached in the House of Representatives, it appears that Nancy Pelosi is using a strategy of holding up the articles of impeachment before they can go to the Senate for a trial. Now, she's claiming that she is making this decision because she's concerned that there will not be a fair trial in the Senate. Now, let me give you the details. The Hill reports that despite repeated attempts by reporters to press her on timing, Pelosi declined to commit to sending the 2 articles of impeachment, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, across the Capitol. She was quoted as saying, "We'll make that decision as a group, as we always have, as we go along." And then she also cited a need to see what the process is on the Senate side before making any decisions about the timing of delivery or the naming of impeachment managers to prosecute the case. Now look, she does have a good reason to be concerned about an unfair trial in the Senate. I mean, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was very clear in saying that he doesn't plan on being fair at all. Take a look.
What is your message to Americans who might have concerns about your ability to be an impartial juror, given your comments that you're coordinating with the White House, you're working closely with them? What is your message?
I'm not an impartial juror. This is a political process. There's not anything judicial about it. Impeachment is a political decision. The House made a partisan political decision to impeach. I would anticipate we will have a largely partisan outcome in the Senate. I'm not impartial about this at all.
And no one's surprised that he's not impartial or that he has absolutely no willingness to hold a fair trial. We know that there are political careers on the line here, and Republican lawmakers are much more concerned with protecting their political careers as opposed to doing the right thing. But Cenk, what do you think about this strategy? You think it's a bad one?
I'm worried about it. I think that it's got a lot of problems. So let's give you one more fact though first. So once the House sends over the articles of impeachment to the Senate, they must act immediately. They must hold a trial immediately. So, and all the senators must go to it. So there is a huge electoral part to this that almost no one is talking about right now, which is that if they go to the trial, let's say in the beginning of January, you'd have to pull the senators off the campaign trail. Now, that doesn't hurt Buttigieg, that doesn't hurt Biden, but it does hurt Warren and Sanders. Those are the top 4 right now.
No, you're right.
Okay, now what is another third rail that reporters would never even dare think about, let alone mention, is, and I'm not saying that this is why she's doing it. I'm just giving you the lay of the land.
This is why she's doing it.
Okay, if Nancy Pelosi holds a trial till the beginning of February, then they're off the campaign trail right before they start voting in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, Super Tuesday, etc. All of that happens between the beginning of February and the beginning of March. It's like an absolutely action-packed month. And the Republicans are saying, well, hey, we're gonna get rid of this thing real quick. We're gonna do it maybe in 2 weeks or so. If they do it in January, Warren and Sanders might be fine. If Pelosi holds it till February and then they drag it out, I don't know what kind of damage it does to their campaigns, but significant damage. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if that's part of the consideration. We do know Nancy Pelosi has gone to dinners with Democratic donors trying to figure out a way to damage Bernie Sanders' campaign. The New York Times reported that, okay? So, all right, so that's one aspect of this. Now let's get to the main aspect of this, I hope, presumably, okay? Which is the actual politics and strategy behind impeachment. There, I also have concerns, significant concerns. So what is it that the Republicans are now getting to say? They're getting to say, oh, number one, she's not sending the case because they know how weak it is. So they're all out all over TV going, it's weak, it's weak, it's weak. Lindsey Graham is saying that it is a breathtaking violation of the Constitution. Look, I know the Republicans are liars and hypocrites. I mean, look at what you just saw from Mitch McConnell. He says, oh, this isn't a criminal trial. I don't have to do due process at all. Don't you remember the Republicans saying for the last 2 months while it was in the House, there's no due process. There's no due process. How could they do this to poor President Trump? And now Mitch McConnell turns around and goes, who gives a damn about due process? They don't care. And in fact, it's an interesting thing about Mitch McConnell, and I think politically he's right, obviously policy-wise in every other respects, he's monstrous, but he thinks it's a better political strategy to be absolutely brazen and over the top and fight as aggressively as possible. Whereas Pelosi, Hoyer, and Schumer think the better political strategy is to appear nice and civil and decent and fair. Now, for a lot of Democrats that listen to NPR, they're like, yeah, oh, decency and civility. Oh my God, way to go, guys. But who's winning and losing in that regard politically over the last decade or longer? Well, the jury's in on that. The Republicans have picked up 1,000 seats in that time period. So the idea of civility is not one that is well suited for electoral politics. So the reason I tell you that is because McConnell is so over the top there. He said, I don't give a damn about being impartial. You saw the exact clip right there. You can see I'm paraphrasing it, but you saw it for yourself. He said literally, I'm not impartial about this at all, okay? So that's him rubbing that in their face and going, I'm going over the top of you. And guess what, Chuck and Nancy, there ain't anything you could do about it. This is how we've been kicking your ass for the last, actually 2 decades at least. And so-
This is so devastating. Look, you made such a devastating point about the timing of the Senate trial and how it would really hurt Bernie Sanders' campaign. I didn't even consider that. It didn't even cross my mind. And so I think that is the main factor in her decision making here. She knew from the very beginning that Republicans were gonna play this the way that they're gonna play it, that they're not going to in any way cross Donald Trump and hurt their political careers. So whether they do this process today or if they do the process 3 months from now, the outcome is gonna be the same. We all know that. And so they keep talking about this as if they're trying to get concessions from Republicans. Since when has the Democratic establishment ever played hardball with Republicans? They don't do that. They play hardball with progressives.
Well, that's true, but even assuming, and I'm to this late date, I'm still a little naive. I know the politics of it well enough to know that could be a factor. But I'm still like,
it's the factor.
I have to confess, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, they're not that craven, are they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That is the main factor. That is what they're doing here.
Okay, so that's Anna's hypothesis on that.
When are you gonna learn?
I know. I keep assuming people are good people.
Don't.
Okay, how's that working out for me?
Not in the Democratic establishment.
Okay, so anyway, but even if you just looked at, forget the Democratic primary angle for a second, and look at the impeachment angle. And so what is Pelosi trying to do? She's trying to, she says, or her folks say to the media, get concessions. So I looked, I said, okay, what concessions do they want? Additional witnesses and documents for the trial. Now, if they got that, if they had the ability to get that, I would actually agree. I would say, oh my God, John Bolton testifying and Mick Mulvaney testifying is so important. If we could get Donald Trump's tax returns in enough time, oh my God, that would be amazing. But there's almost no hope of getting the tax returns on time, so that doesn't make any sense. I wish it were the case, but it isn't. So the documents are tied up in the courts. They have nothing to do with Mitch McConnell, so it's not a concession McConnell could even give. And then in terms of the witnesses, like really at this late date, they think that Mitch McConnell will give them what they want? No, the minute Nancy Pelosi says, here's my wish list, McConnell goes, great. Those are the things that I'm now least likely to give you. I will give you over my dead political body, right? And so, like, really, does anybody think that McConnell would ever give Chuck Schumer a concession on this? In fact, if I was the Democrats and I was strategizing on this, I would never ever tell them what my real priorities are. Because if I told them that, McConnell would say, under no circumstances will I allow you to have that. So this is poorly played from every conceivable angle.
You're right, and everything else I had prepared and produced for the story is irrelevant. My question now is, Jesus. Okay, so my question now is, what if Bernie decides, no, I'm not gonna stop campaigning to get wrapped up in the impeachment vote. I'm not gonna be there for the trial.
No, that I don't know. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.